Good morning and almost afternoon. Oh, I'm so glad you're all on with us today. It's going to be another great day with the Stroke of Genius show. And I'm thankful for all of you being here. James Thornton, who typically joins us for these calls, or at least he did at one point, he is not available today. I apologize for him not being on, but he is working through stuff on his end, and I think it's all good. So again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate that. Keep your thoughts and prayers with James, and we'll continue to do the good work of what it is that we started here. So I'm very appreciative of having you on again, and just look forward to the conversation we're going to have today. So having said all that, let's get started. So tell me what it is you're going through right now. What is it that you've experienced over the last week that has made you wonder? Maybe it's something going on in the world. Maybe it's just something going on in your world. What is it that you have that you'd like to talk about today? Because that's really the whole point of this show in general, is to be able to serve you in whatever way we can. And that's certainly top of mind, and we're going to continue to do that. So while your notes and thoughts or comments are coming in, I'm going to just talk a little bit about how things have gone with me from my perspective. I'll tell you, it's been a great week where I've had some really aha moments. I've had some great times where making calls to people, just reaching out and having conversations have been very beneficial. But I'll tell you, there have also been those moments where I needed to just slow down. I need to just slow down and think about what it is that I'm doing and what impact I'm having on other people with what I'm doing. Don't we all need to do that at times? Just slow down, considering the impact that we're having on other people, considering how we are not only being perceived in the world, but how other people are interacting with us or not interacting with us. There's a lot to be said for all that has gone into who makes us up. So there is it's in this week, like I was saying, where I've had a few instances where I need to just understand of the impact I'm having. So one of them is with my wife. I love her dearly, and I wouldn't trade her for anything. The relationship we have, this Monday will be 30 years of marriage. And going into marriage, I had no idea what I was getting into. But it's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's not. So if you tell yourself that it is, then you're going to be sadly mistaken. So going through marriage with her has allowed me to become a better person, because I've had to be more flexible. I've had to, consider other people's feelings. I've had to make sure that, I know what it is that I'm doing, not only to her, but also for her at times. So having said that, I think that would be one of the biggest areas that I would talk about when it comes to having a longer marriage. And 30 years is a great number to be at, but all my brothers and sisters ahead of me, the 7 of them, they've all been married longer than I have. 2 of them have been married 50 years. 50 years. Well, more than 50 years. So, I mean, that's absolutely amazing in my book. But again, I'm wondering what's going on in your world. What is it that you have going on that you may need some answers to, or maybe some thoughts on. You know, I can't tell you I can answer everything because I certainly can't, but at least I can listen to you and talk with you, at least over the comment section. So put your comments in, and if you would, if you're listening live, put in hashtag live. If you're listening on replay, put in hashtag replay. That would be great. And then, you know, we'll just see where we go from there. So a little bit more about our marriage. Connie and I were married in 1990, September 1st, by the way. And we didn't have much of a clue about marriage. We didn't really, well, we knew we loved each other, which is a great place to start. We've been married, well, we've been dating for like 3.5 years, which she will continue to say was way too long. But, you know, she helped me to know what it is to be a man, to know what it is to stick by someone, whether, you know, they're doing the right thing or not, and to help them to make the right decisions. So that's been very important. I mean, so for example, the one time that I'm thinking of is when we weren't even married yet, and a friend of mine had an affair, and he had just gotten married not even a year ago, or a year after that, or the year before that. And anyway, so I heard the news, and I thought it was hilarious that he had an affair. And this was back in 1990, so I really wasn't that smart. Actually, 89 probably. But I thought it was hilarious. But she looked at me and she said, "That's awful. I can't believe you would think that." And coming to think about it, you know, you're right. That is awful. And that's not who I am. That's not who my parents raised. I shouldn't laugh at that. So, you know, she helped me to understand the importance of marriage and the importance of our vows, even though we weren't even married yet. I thought that was and that's still, I mean, 40 years or 30 years later, it still sticks with me. So it was a very, very big turning point in our relationship. I mean, to have that understanding and the importance of marriage, you know, it's very sacred, and obviously she knew a lot about that. So that's one area where, or one instance where, you know, she showed me how to be a faithful man. So again, she helped me in that regard. That was 30 years ago, like I said. Almost, well, 10 years ago was when I had brain surgery. And I needed her more than anything because she was not only just my driver, she was my sighted guide. She was my person. I mean, she was my everything. She was my eyes. I couldn't have done it without her. So, having said that, understanding the importance of having her there, of having her with me all the time, I began to realize that, you know, this marriage thing is really important, because when they say death do us part, and goodness, in what, how's it go? In sickness and health, understanding you need to be standing with someone even though they're going through the sickness. She did that for me, and I'll never ever begin to repay her, but I don't have to repay her. She's my wife. I'll continue to be her husband, and she'll hopefully continue to be my wife. You know, it's that grace that she gave me, and the grace that, you know, we get from God. You know, we get that grace that we all need to understand, and we all have it. We just need to accept it. There are times where we don't accept it, and that's really our fault. So if we had a better understanding of that, then we'd be able to be so much more at ease. So, for example, as I'm on these calls, I understand that I have grace. Doesn't mean that I can just slough off and do what I want and, not take it seriously. But if I'm putting myself out there and I understand that I'm putting myself out there and people can laugh or do whatever they want, but I know why I'm doing this. I know I'm here to serve other people. I want to help other people, much like my friend James does. And if we can put ourselves out there and see what happens, I think that's what we're here to do. That's what we're made for. And we're going to continue to do that. So back to Connie and what she's done for me, over the last 30 years. I can't begin to tell you what all it is. And I told you about one story. There are other instances where she's been right beside me through thick and thin. I've been in the hospital quite a few times. She's been the one there that's been my caregiver. She's been the one to take notes as the doctors, talked. And the doctors usually get there early, so she would always get there early to to listen to the doctors and to have conversations and ask questions. Oh my gosh. You think I ask a lot of questions? Connie asks more questions than I do, and she's really good at it. She does a great job of asking the right questions, and when it comes to storytelling, I don't know anybody any more detailed about storytelling than her. She knows how to set up a story, she knows how to tell a story, and she knows how to make an impact. So I love her for that. She has helped me a lot with my storytelling as well. But I think of her and what she's done, not only from being with me in the hospital, but also just being with me in general and making sure that I understood, what it meant to be a man, what it meant to be a father. Like, oh my gosh, I remember when we were going to have our first son, and my friend Kenny came out to Chicago. We were living in Chicago at the time. So this is probably it is in '94. And Kenny and I, we went out and we had a bender. We went to the Riverboat Casino there in Aurora. We had a great time, too good of a time, and came back. We came back by cab. We got there by my car. So her first question was, when I walked in the door, "Where's your car?" I don't know. Actually, probably after I woke up the next morning, where she said, "Where is your car?" I had no idea. And this is when she was first pregnant with Grant, our oldest. How do you expect you're going to be a father? You can't even know where your car is. Wow. That was a wake-up call. I mean, it was 26 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I don't know if Kenny remembers it or not, but it was a tough night, tough day, tough time of life to just understand that, I had no clue what I was doing, but she did. She knew what it took. She knew what it took to be a good father. She had a good father, and not only her heavenly father, but her father on earth. Good old Wayne Brueggemeyer. He was a good father, and he did a great job of raising a daughter and 3 sons. So those are a couple of stories that I could share with you about what Connie has done for me and how she's helped me to be a better person. But at the same time, she's done this caregiver thing with me, over the last 10 years, but probably more than that. And 10 years since I had surgery. But, as she's done that, there's still times where I feel as though I want to add something to what she's doing. I want to be able to, make her more aware of what's going on inside of me. So when I think about, what I was going through with not being able to see and having to take her arm, to walk through our kids' band competitions, I'll never forget the first band competition we went to. It was in Southern Ohio, and I had no idea where she was, so I just stopped and I waited for her to come back to me, and then I could take her shoulder, and I'd be able to walk through, hopefully without hitting too many people, to walk through the crowd. That's an instance where she showed me how I should be, or she showed me how to get to where I needed to be. She showed me how to where I need to be in a lot more instances than that. But at the same time, I always felt, and this is how I continue to feel 9.5 years later, that I need to sometimes have the opportunity to fall and to run into things. So, yes, I ran into a few things, and it hasn't gone well, but I've learned from those instances. So I had a hard time, initially for not letting me run into things, but she just wants to take care of me. She wants me to be safe. And if I don't run into things, the chances are that I'm going to continue to be safe. So when I think of being a caregiver, it's got to be the hardest job ever, because in one instance, you want to love the person as much as you can, but in the other instance, you want to be able to let that person grow, and to let that person fail and figure out what they don't know or what they can't do. Much like having a child. If we were to have a child that had a blindness, which it's actually something I work with some kids at the School for the Blind, where they're blind. How do you be a good parent to that child, but also help them to understand, help them to grow, help them to find their own way? Because the more they find their own way, the better chances are they're going to be able to lead a more successful, happy life on their own. But if you don't let them do that, then you're kind of neutering them. You're kind of taking that away. That's a hard part of being a parent. Hard part of being a caregiver is to know how much do you do for a person. So I've experienced that at the School for the Blind. I mean, in the last 3 years that I've been working with them, how much do I do? So we're in the kitchen, in the ILS room, the integrated living services. Anyway, whatever it is, but I never know how much to do for them. One of the teachers there, she does a phenomenal job with just letting them do what they can do. And, if they get something done, great. If they take a little extra time, that's fine. So, yes, it's important for us to, as caregivers, to still allow the person we're caring for the space to make failures, to have failures, and also to just experience what they can and do things on their own. Because if you don't let them do things on their own, if you don't make them put on their own pants, if you don't make them tie their own shoes, then they're never going to do that. They're just going to be relying upon you for the rest of your life. And you don't want that. You don't have somebody relying upon you for the rest of your life. You want to be able to see them grow. So those are some of the things that I've been thinking about today in terms of Connie as my caregiver and what she has provided for me. But I'm also hopeful that you can take out of this a couple of other things that we have as caregivers, that we can help people, not by helping them, help people by making them do some of the things on their own, making them do life on their own. I think you're going to find that the more you allow them to do on their own, the more they're going to appreciate you for allowing them to do it on their own. I think that's a key ingredient to being a good caregiver, is to know where that balance is, to know that you're doing something additional that for that person just by not doing something additional for that person. So that's what I have for you this morning. I just appreciate you all being on here today. Again, hashtag live if you're listening live, hashtag replay if you're listening on replay. But hopefully we get James back in here. And I know he wanted to bring on his dog Hazel, who's a French poodle, or no, Labradoodle. Sorry, she's a Labradoodle, and you'll hopefully get a chance to hear her next week. But if there's ever anything that I can do for you, ever any questions that I can answer from a stroke of genius perspective or anything else, please let me know. I'd love to help you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all that you do every day. I hope you wish Connie and me a happy birthday. I know you do. But as always, just continue to do good work, and to always keep one eye on the road. Thank you. Have a great day, and have a great weekend. Bye.